Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Conversation with Freedom. Today, I have a very special guest. She's so amazing, and I'm telling you, after this podcast, you're definitely gonna get inspired and you're gonna follow her work. Her name is Amy Taylor. Amy, welcome to my podcast.
Hi, it's so nice to meet you. It's probably pretty late for you over there, right? Sorry.
Yes, no, it's fine.
Okay.
For Amy, you do a lot of different things, and I've been following your amazing work. So, for those people who don't know who Amy Taylor is, please tell us more about yourself and what you do.
Oh, well, yeah, I do lots of things. I live in Los Angeles and
Yeah,
I'm a almost native Californian, pretty much. California's home. And
yeah.
I've done a lot of modeling over the years from teenage to now. Still do fitness and glamour. I was too short to do runway, unfortunately. I'm a pilot. I've flown cargo planes. I've
Yeah.
flown charter for a person who owned an airplane. I've taught flying, and I'm getting some extra ratings right now because I got a little bored and thought I'd add some more flying to my resume. And
Okay.
around that, I spend a lot of time with my dog. I enjoy staying fit and
Yeah.
love my family, and just that's about it.
You're so amazing. How long have you been doing modeling?
Gosh, forever. I'm in my
Oh,
40s now. And actually, despite what people say, there's quite a bit
yeah.
of modeling when you're older. It's just different. But I started as a teenager. I grew up, well, I was born in Pennsylvania, but we moved to Sacramento, California when I was 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's where I started life. And when I was a teenager, my father and I were at a mall and a photographer scouted me. And of course,
Wow.
my dad thought he was a complete creep, pedophile or something, but he wasn't. He had an agency, he had
Yeah.
models. My father
Yeah.
came with me to the first few meetings just to make sure, because there's a lot of weirdos. Um, but I guess I was lucky that it wasn't anything bad. It was real. And so I did some photo shoots and did some hometown runway shows when I was in high school at the department store at the time, just little stuff, nothing big. And then I did a couple pageants. That was kind of silly, but it was, something to do. And
Yeah.
and I got some clothing line tags, the little tags when you buy clothing. I got the job to be the one in the picture in that clothing. And
Yes.
that's kind of how it started. And then I just kept doing it while I was in school. And then when I moved to Los Angeles, there's a lot of that down here, a lot of
Yeah.
entertainment, acting, modeling. It's LA. So
Yeah.
that's when I started doing fitness and even glamour and even some sexy stuff. I'm some people get offended by that. I'm
Yeah.
sorry if people do, but I'm not sorry. Um, and it was just I think bodies are beautiful. I don't have a lot of shame surrounding sex. I understand that
Oh,
some people are different from me, and that's great. But
mm.
it doesn't bother me to have done, the Playboys and the bikini stuff. And I think when I'm a little old lady, I'll be like, look how sexy I was when I was young. And I just don't. I think in this world, there's a lot of things that are bad, and I just don't think
Yes.
that's one of them. But
Yes, and I'm sorry, we'll get into that. And that's one thing that I like most about you. You're so honest, you're so authentic, and that's what I love most. That's why I've watched a lot of your videos on
hey,
YouTube. You're so amazing. You speak your truth. You just that's what drove me to you. You're so inspiring, and that's what I like most about you.
and so do you. I'm really impressed by the charity work that you do. I'm impressed by your interest in literature and writing.
Thank
I I
you.
I stalk you too. I'm a huge fan. And I think
Wow.
what
That's so powerful coming from you because I really am a big fan of your work, and I was telling my friend about you. I was like, "Shit, I'm really a fan of your work, and I feel this is a dream come true. I feel honored to have you on the podcast, and
I think
man,
what else can
you
we do but speak our truth? And,
Yeah.
and that's what makes the world beautiful. There's 7 billion of us, and we're different, and that's okay. And even if you disagree, I'm sure there's many people who disagree with my choices, and that's okay. We're all just here for a few decades, and then we're gone, that we know of. And
True.
I think, what more can we do? And I really think the only way to connect with people is to share your story, whatever that is.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't expect everybody to like my morals or my choices or my decisions.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do expect respect for my story as another human soul on planet Earth, just like everyone else.
So, Amy, I'm sorry to cut you. That brings me to the question of, what kind of advice would you give to maybe a little girl who wanna get into modeling, someone who really wanna do it, but she doesn't feel like she belongs, like she's kind of like having doubts. What kind of message would you give to that little girl? Because you've been doing this thing like for, I don't know, for years now. Yeah.
So some of it is brutal. You have to be honest. If an industry wants you, I would like to play for the NBA, but I'm very small. So sometimes there's some honesty involved. If the industry wants you, it will take effort, it will take work, but you will have some positive success. If you're trying year after year after year and nothing, it's possible that it's not the right choice. It's also, other things are also possible. You may live in the wrong city. You may, but if you find a woman or a man who finds that they like to be in front of the camera and that's where they're comfortable, then it becomes just like any other effort, any job or school or nonprofit. It's about integrity. Do your job, show up on time, be pleasant as you can. That's the hard one for me as a cranky lady in her 40s. But be professional. Be a pleasure to have on set. Nobody likes to work with people they hate. Be flexible. But stand up for yourself. That's also important. And when you're new, you're not going to have the power and clout of somebody established. So you might have to work a little harder for a lower rate. That won't be forever, but you probably can't be completely entitled when you're new. Like any job, right? When you're younger. So I think integrity, I think reliability, honesty, and that's true of anything, not just modeling. The details of modeling, obviously, you have to be healthy, you have to be physically attractive, you have to take care of your hair, nails, skin, body, you have to get sleep. Those are just things about looking good on camera, which is the job. But the rest of it is the same as for any other job. It's just professionalism.
Yes, that's great, and that's so true. What is it? What's that one common myth about modeling that you want to debunk?
Oh gosh, probably a few. First off, that we're all very stupid because models.
Why?
Well, because the job is standing in front of a camera and looking pretty. So it's not the most intellectual job. Sometimes so that would imply that your brains don't matter. But as I said before about reliability, professionalism, punctuality, looking up for help, all of that takes thinking. So models are not necessarily dumb any more than anyone else. They're smart and dumb and less smart. And I think another thing to debunk is the unhealthy lifestyle choices. A lot of people think all models do drugs and have eating disorders, and that is not at all true. That does exist, but that exists in many other circles too.
Wow.
So, as I'm finding out in my 40s, I'd like to debunk the myth that you can only model when you're young. That is no longer true, and maybe never was. There's a huge industry called gray modeling, for
Mm.
older people. And the diversity of who can be a model is changing fast, and it's great. So,
Yeah.
so you don't just have to be 16 and 6 feet tall, and not everybody has to look the same. There's beauty in lots of different ages, races,
Yeah.
shapes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm pleased to be part of the industry at this time when there is
Okay.
more space for more types of people.
Yeah. Okay. Amy, I have a lot of different questions to ask you. I don't really know what to ask you next. How do you define fashion?
How do I define
Fashion.
passion?
Fashion. How
Passion.
do you
Sorry.
define fashion?
How do I define passion?
Yeah.
Oh gosh. This is an interesting question. I think for me, fashion is the message I send the world before I open my mouth.
Oh,
When
that's so powerful.
well,
That's so powerful.
don't you think sometimes, I don't know how you feel, but when you put something on, you get, not this is just, I'm at home, but when you put it on, it's like a little bit of armor. It's like a
Yeah.
little bit of a costume. It can be.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it can also not be. You can just be wearing it for comfort or warmth or stay cool, whatever. But sometimes it can be a little bit of this is who I would like to be. Even if I don't believe
Mm.
this is who I am yet,
Yeah.
maybe I want to be more stylish, richer,
Yeah.
famous,
Yeah.
colorful, classy,
Yes.
edgy, strong, whatever I'm feeling, I can put on fashion and I can send this message to the world, even if I don't feel it. And sometimes you can make yourself feel it, and that's very fun, right? Today, I don't feel so happy. I'm going to put on a colorful pink dress that says happy. And maybe in an hour or two, I will feel happier. Maybe I have a very important business meeting. I'm scared. They're powerful. I want to fund my business and I'm asking for money. If I put on a very powerful suit, a watch, I come to that meeting and I'm going to get their money. Maybe.
True.
For me, fashion is the message I want to send the world before they know me.
Mm. And then success, how do you define it?
I think it's different for everyone. For me, it was freedom. I've been fiercely independent and badly wanted my freedom. And to some degree I've achieved it. But I think for others, success can be a wonderful romantic love or family or money or contributing something that lives beyond them after they're gone. I think success has multiple definitions. For me, I'm a pilot. I'm a bird. I like to fly. For me, I mean, I live very high up, right? I'm a bird. It was freedom for me. Freedom.
Yeah. And then failure.
Ooh. Failure. Regret.
Oh.
Wishing it had been different and being unable to go back and make it different, I think is the worst failed feeling, is regret.
Yes. And speaking of regret. Okay, you can.
I was just going to say, we all have some regrets, but I think it's important to try not to have too many, because it's a difficult feeling that is often not helpful.
Yes, and I was about to ask you that do you have any regrets?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. Can you share with us?
I have a couple ex-boyfriends that sometimes late at night when I'm alone, I wonder if I could have made it work. And they're both one I'm thinking of is married with children. He's very happy. I will always care about him. I sometimes wonder if it could have been, but it probably couldn't have been. So is it really a regret? I don't know. The big one I think is, I don't know. We should edit this out. We could talk about editing this out. I'll talk about it. I had an abortion.
Okay.
And it's between me and God now, but there is not one day that doesn't go by where I wonder what would be if I had decided differently.
I don't know. Is it okay if I ask you some question on that?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Thinking of that, and how was it? How was it?
Horrible. That's part of my life. Probably the worst part. I made a decision that at the time seemed right. I think maybe it was. Life was a disaster at the time. It probably would have been a disaster. The baby was not healthy. The relationship was not healthy. But I wonder if I had to try to make it work. Well, would it have lived? I don't know what would have happened. I don't know because I didn't do that. And but I do know. I know that it was once and it will never happen again. But I don't know if I ever meet the child. Would be a teenager now, and if I ever meet him, I'll have some forgiveness to ask for.
Amy, there are a lot of women and girls who went through that.
Yes.
What kind of
common as birth?
Yes. What kind of advice would you give to someone who's always going back to the moment? I know you're not an expert, but
I would say don't do it again. Use birth control.
Yeah. Yes.
Don't have many. And if you're doing it for reasons of your own health, or the fetus is not healthy, or it's an instance of rape or unwanted, or a man refused to wear a condom, or ejaculated inside you when you told him not to, if it's then I believe that you have the right to. I believe women's bodies are not vehicles for men to make children with.
Yes.
Because abortion is also a tragedy and the child is not guilty, then it should be, as we say in America, it should be legal, safe, and rare. So every woman has to make her own decision.
Yes.
It's private. I don't really like governments involved, because this particular thing is so intimate. It's wrapped up in sex. It's often wrapped up in rape. It's wrapped up in men not wanting to use condoms because they don't feel good. It's wrapped up in passion. Sometimes people lose control during sex, or they're drunk or high and they don't know what they're doing. And sometimes birth control doesn't work. Sometimes the morning after pill, plan B, as we have it, doesn't work always.
Yes.
There are so many complications. This is and each story is different.
That's true.
And then if you make the choices as the choice I made once, and you have to live with regret, then therapists and counseling and navigating life as best you can with regret, which is part of getting older and part of living. I don't know a person alive who doesn't have some trauma from regret. This is true. Part of life, sadly. I wish we lived in a world where this never happened, but I don't see it. I don't see a world where men are willing to be 100% safe or abstinent or use condoms every time. I don't see that happening, because we all know, and what people don't want to talk about is that men usually don't like safe sex. We know this. And this is not what people like to talk about, but this is the truth. So women don't just have abortions alone. Women have abortions because men don't like condoms.
Men, yes, that's so true.
Anyway, this is the heavy topic. So, but this is part of life. Regret.
Yeah. Oh.
And on that note, back to modeling.
How do you deal with criticism?
Oh gosh, nobody is more critical than me inside my own head.
Yeah.
The internet, I mean, it's thousands of them a day. Most of them are compliments, a few are insults. I don't really notice it. There's too many. So the internet criticism used to bother me when I was younger. Now it's the internet. In person, if somebody doesn't like me, I try to find a solution and try to make it better if I did something wrong. If I can't, sometimes relationships have to end. Luckily, that's rare. But it's important to me that even when somebody is critical of me, that we can be civil and sane and not crazy and harmful. But most of the criticism of me is on the internet. You know, they judge your body, they judge your face, and that's just the internet. I mean, people have the right to their opinions. It's okay.
Yes. Amy, you've been on the cover magazine of some of big brands. You've been everywhere. What's next for Amy Taylor?
I think next week I'm on the cover of, or for next month's issue, I'm on the cover of FHM in Canada. They just sent me Canada. It's a magazine. They sent me the tear sheet this morning. I think that comes out next week.
Wow.
Fashion magazines next month. I'll do some more shooting next month, and those images and videos will come out a few months later after post-production. And where they'll be placed depends on the editors and the bosses. That's not me. Personal life, I'm adding a couple of aviation ratings, which is really fun. I like flying. So hopefully I'll be a good pilot and you'll hear from me next year. I'm adding my aerobatic rating. So fingers crossed that works out. Well, I don't know, something to do. And I'm gonna go visit my parents in Hawaii. They go back and forth between California and Hawaii. And now COVID sort of relaxing, I'm able to be with my parents more, which is important to me. They're getting older. I love them. They love me in spite of my half-naked modeling. So I'm lucky. And so I want to spend some more time with them after COVID prevented our family from spending as much time as we could together. And then what else? I just moved apartments. I might move again next year. We'll see. This winter, I have some weird, crazy plans to maybe go see Antarctica, but I'm not sure if I'm actually going to do that or I'm just hoping. I'd like to do some more travel, just personal travel, and see some parts of the world that I haven't.
You don't know how inspired I am right now by just talking to you, by you telling how you feel. I'm so honored and I'm blessed. I'm truly thankful that we're having this conversation with you.
Likewise.
I'm just
no, thank you. And I'm proud of the charity work you do. Keep it up. You know, you're young and motivated, and I think if that's your truth, then I think you get the message out. You just keep sharing the message.